A little bit ago, I promised a subscriber I would film a video inside of my refrigerator if I got to 50,000 subscribers. And well, it's slowly approaching now, so if you want to see my 8-month review filmed inside of one, you know what to do, leave a like or a comment, and hopefully we get there. But that is enough shameless self-promotion, roll the thing. Alright, listen up, I'm worried about Dying Light 2. The current state of the game is actively working towards a much better product, that's a fact. Roadmaps, content updates, and future DLCs are indications that 1, Techland is indeed listening, and 2, that content is also coming. It's a situation that any Halo Infinite fan would dream of, so why am I worried? Why am I having my concerns? My concerns rise with the first DLC. The DLC known as Bloody Ties is releasing in about a month from today, and it has me with many lingering questions and also concerns. My concerns can be broken down into 3 different sections: the focus, the substance, and also the replayability. How's that for some pretty broad topics? What we know about the first DLC is that it's going to be a story adventure that introduces a new arena for players to embark on. It will take us to a place called the Carnage Hall and be full of challenges and quests, surprising new weapon types, character interactions, and many discoveries to uncover. The first concern is the focus, and based off of the trailer, it seems like once again the game is heading into the direction of prioritizing human enemies and human combat over the infected. The trailer does a good job at showcasing how pivotal of a role the humans will have, fighting and battling each other for a champion spot. You have Astrid, one who's going to be a very important, essential role to the DLC, saying things like this.
Every day you fight for survival, but today you fight for glory by the deadliest species of all, us.
You have the trailer literally saying that you fight the infected every day, you fight to stay alive, but today we're gonna fight for glory. Let's fight one another to see who comes out on top. The ultimate species is humans, so let's see who is the superior one. Let's see who's gonna be the one to get that crown and become champion. Because ultimately, that's what the DLC is gonna come down to. Sections of constant human fights. Then you're gonna work through a series of challenges and eventually end with a fight against Skullface, the big bad that is being hyped up for this DLC. I mean, if you played the original, you can see where my concerns are. I mean, the entire premise of Dying Light 2, Stay Human, was focusing on your morals and choices in a post-apocalyptic world. The main game leaned too heavily on characters and their subplots so much that the infected just took a backseat. And I've hammered this topic so many times, but it's just upsetting to see how little of a role they have after Techland ended the original Dying Light on such a high note with them. I know the community is constantly making comparisons to the following and that worked, but the following is literally just an outline on what works so well. Why deviate so far from that path where you're on the opposite side of the spectrum now? To not embrace what made you so unique and original is a questionable decision. Instead, what we got, it just fell down to generic 2 factions, and we got what we got. Another huge fear of mine is that when we get into these sections of human combat, it's just going to be bland and uninspiring. Remember back in my brutally honest review of Dying Light 2, this is what I had to say about the Renegades. Your enemy characters boil down to Fire Guy, Bow and Arrow Dude, Normal Renegade with one-handed weapon, and Tanky Renegade with two-handed weapons. The variety doesn't really go any further than that. I complained about enemy variety, that fighting bandits in the base game was nothing original, and it got very old very quickly, especially when you heard the same damn Renegade theme song every time combat was initiated. Once again, it looks like the variety of enemies that we will be facing in this DLC will be similar. I'm hoping I'm wrong on that, but looking at the trailer, that's what it is. You can see the same enemies that we've been fighting for the past 7 months now, just in a different environment with a different skin on. We have the bow dude, the fire dude, the big brute. We know how it goes by now. I will say though, in the community update, they did add new tools and items for the Renegades. It's very unique. The green mist, that's awesome. Turning humans into infected. I love that change. That simple change, that simple quality of life update adds so much depth to their world. The factions are willing to turn on their friends. They're willing to turn them into infected to try to murder you. Notice how things got a lot more interesting when you involve the infection rather than Fire Dude or Bow Dude. Overall, my fingers are crossed that it's not a copy paste of the enemies like we've seen before in the past, aka Hell Raid. On Twitter recently, Timon tweeted out Best Gamer Ali's video, and he replied by saying, or maybe just wait and see, I hope it'll surprise you. It has a chunky 6 hours plus story, quite a few side quests, plenty of encounters with the infected, human combat is max 30% of it, plus some hidden secrets. Once again, the issue isn't that the infected aren't included, the issue aligns with the focus being on something else rather than them. It's just hard for me to wrap my head around a gladiator, warrior type arena based DLC to not primarily focus on the people who are competing against each other. Trust me, I want nothing more than to be proven wrong with this. I'll eat my shoe or I'll record a video in the refrigerator. Timon, if you're watching, prove me wrong. Tell me something to do if I'm wrong. And like Timon did say in his tweet, this DLC offers up a 6+ hour story, few side quests, and hidden secrets. And this will lead me to concern number 2, substance. Now, my issue doesn't arise with this being a story DLC. I think that's awesome. Getting content that allows us to explore the world more, understand it, dive deeper into new enemies and creatures is what the future should be, and Techland should continue that. That's not the issue. The issue is with the substance of the arena. And I know a lot of these concerns, they can be answered if we just wait a month, but I still need to go and raise up my thoughts for you. One huge question that I have is, what is the arena going to look like after we beat the DLC? What is the function of it? It looks like it's going to be a game mode, but will there be incentives to come back and revisit it? Is it going to be a mode that fans and players are just going to stop playing after a week because you can get it all done in a few hours? I mean, we do have to remember, Techland did say that Dying Light 2 would last us 500 hours, and that couldn't be any further from the truth. When this DLC comes out, Techland needs to capitalize on this moment. This is when players are coming back to check out Dying Light 2 again and see what's new. There needs to be significant reasons to keep playing. And even with the delay, mind you, it was delayed twice, the expectations for this content are even higher. And if the first paid DLC is lackluster and it doesn't live up to expectations, it's going to be very difficult to try to get people to come back later down the road. Replayability for the arena post-story completion is a must, whether it's an endless survival mode that increases in difficulty as time goes on, or other unique game modes, or meaningful rewards like outfits and weapons. It needs to be something substantial. There needs to be substance in this for players to enjoy. If the extra fluff in this DLC is going to be 1 to 2 minute time challenges and only that, it's going to be disappointing. We need things like leaderboards and more opportunities for crazy fun to happen, because at the end of the day, this DLC doesn't seem to be leaning into the realistic horror vibe that they set in the base game. And that's completely okay. Trying out new things and being experimental is always a plus. It's how you figure out what is innovative and how to keep ideas fresh. It only succeeds when there's substance and there's good content that comes along with it. But this also segues me into my last concern, which is replayability, which we kind of briefly touched on already. By establishing an arena mode, it sets up the groundwork for future content updates. You basically have this area that is separate from the main world that would allow Techland to really experiment and introduce new ideas. By not frequently adding updates to this arena would be a completely missed opportunity. Anything to keep things pouring in is welcome. I'm basically saying this because I don't want to see this become another Hell Raid. That content was so half-baked and Techland didn't update it for months until the very last minute, where a majority of the player base wasn't playing it anymore. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think one of the greatest things Techland could add to this arena would be modifiers. The more options, the better. If the community is able to make things like a fan-made PvP or tag mode or a survival mode, it would increase the replayability for this DLC to lengths Techland probably hasn't even imagined. Imagine if the modifiers presented had the same options such as Halo Infinite. Okay, well, not Infinite, but like Halo Reach or Halo 3. You could take custom games to a whole new level. It would actually introduce custom games into Dying Light 2. And remember what Timon said in my interview a while ago. Dying Light 2 is made for online play, and the potential behind this arena is massive, and I'm afraid Techland won't fully utilize it. They have something major coming, but it needs to deliver on all fronts in order to be successful. I mean, the whole modifier thing, I was just spitballing, but I do think it would increase the replayability in more unique ways rather than some of the options that we mentioned earlier in this video. But let me know what you think. Of course, I can go and speak as much as I want about these topics. I'm not a developer. I have no idea how to develop games, code games, or if anything of what I just said is even possible. I am just offering up some unique ways on what I've gathered from the community on how to deliver on the expectations of the first DLC and then some. I don't want to see this fail. I have my worries and I'm just adjusting my expectations accordingly. I would love to be wrong. I honestly want nothing more than to be wrong with this. But that's what I had to say. I'm curious to hear what you have to say, so comment down below and let me know. If you want to see more videos from me, click on these videos right here. See you later. Bye-bye.